Welcome to this tutorial on how to make a forged leaf. For this project you don't really need much. Here I have a piece of 1 centimeter square bar, and this is mild steel, so it's very easy to work with. And you're gonna need a hammer, and you're gonna need a chisel. And this is just any store-bought chisel. Is works beautifully. This one I think I got at the hardware store. Probably was about 50 Swedish kronas. That's about $5 or £4 or something like that. So that's really all you need to make this leaf happen. Start with working the ends down to a point. Then I just do glancing blows. See, my hammer is tilted this way. To get the leaf started. Then work the edges down. I get towards where I get a point like this. When this is done, I'm going to start working down what's going to be the leaf head. So I take a little bit of distance out and start working half on, half blows. Then I twist the bar with every hammer blow. What happens then is that the material reduces. See here? What happens now, you see the point is, well, this section here is a lot thinner now. So I work down and you have this nub here. There's going to be the flower, the petal. Then you have this part that's going to be the stem, and it's been reduced. So what we're going to do now is take another heat, and then we're going to work it from the back end instead. So now we're going to start working the back end, and I just move back here. The same process. There. So what I'm going to explain to you now is what I was talking about was half on, half blows, and what that means is half of the hammer is on the edge of the anvil, the other half is hanging outside. So when I hit here, this part forms the material, draws it out. Okay, so it forces the material to expand in one direction. That's why when we were hitting here, it got smaller down here. Then we moved over to this side, and it was smaller on this side. Since this, the end that's hanging over the edge doesn't have any resistance, so nothing really happens there. Okay? So now we have here this stem that is starting to form. What I want to do now is work the stem a little bit before we start working the petal. And it's just because when you're new to this, it's better to get this part out of the way a bit before you start making the whole leaf, so you don't ruin the leaf when you are when you're working the stem after the leaf is done. Okay, so just straighten it out a little bit like this. Okay. Okay, now we're about ready to start. Now we're about ready to start working the leaf, and we're going to take another heat, and then we are going to start hitting up here on top. And I want to stress this: don't hurry. Take it easy. Take as many heats as you need, because you want to have control here. You just want to start working the material from the top, then the material is going to sink down and spread out, and you want it to spread, so you don't want to start hammering on the edges when they start to form. You want to concentrate your blows on the top here. Okay, so here we go. Cool and calm blows. So you see, that was just a couple of blows. It's already started to get that leaf shape, and as I'm taking my time, the material cools down as thinner as it gets. So I'm going to take another heat. Don't worry about stress, just worrying about getting as good a leaf as I can. What you see me doing here is I'm hitting and letting the hammer fall on the anvil, and that's purely because I want to take my time. If I hit and hit and hit, I'm probably going to be bouncing all over the place. So here I'm hitting, looking at the material. How does it look? Hitting one more time, hitting one more time, just to see where my blows are going. So I was starting to come towards the edges, then I stopped, come back. And it's very important this, just to get precise. Okay, here we go again. Now, to spread this, I'm going to start turning it a bit. And change the side. This material splits a little bit. Probably it was damaged when I started, or it was fish lipping a little bit. That doesn't really matter. Could be a nice addition to the flower when it's ready. We'll see how it pans out. That's pretty good. Now we want to start using the chisel, and for this maybe you should have a little glove on your hand, because it's going to be hot over here. Now it's what we call black heat, because it's still really hot. You'll blister yourself if you touch this, but we want to outline the markings for the petal. I'm just going to start here, find my center. Right. Find the line again. Simple blows. You can use a fuller here as well if you wanted the deep lines to go deep. I just want to keep it simple. Now we're going to start working on the sides. Find that line. Take one on the opposite. here we have a start. Now I'm going to take a heat, just work this a little bit. Okay, as you remembered, we could work this pretty long time. That's it, not better. The cut's really nice. That a little bit. Okay. So now we have a leaf. And it's very basic, this leaf, right? You can see the shape, and when you get more proficient, you can start working out. You see you've got a lot of material here in the wings, so you can start spreading that out. This is just a start. I find this a very good exercise to get where you feel, oh, this looks like something, and then work from there. We're going to work a bit on the stem to get that drawn out a bit. That's the next moments of operation. Now I want to move to the horn of the anvil, if you got one. Start working it. It doesn't take much. Get it elongates, become longer. Working quite slow. Don't need to rush this at all. Alright. Now it's quite wonky. We're going to start making it round soon enough. It's about where I want it. Yeah. So this particular leaf is going on a little statue, sculpture I'm working on, tree. So I want the stems a bit thicker. The edges down, rotate a little bit, like this. Right, that's about enough where I work from here, and now I'm gonna cut off the stem and then work. Well, first we're gonna bend the leaf a little bit. Make it more leaf-like. It's good if you have a some kind of die or something like that to help you out. But if you don't, you can just use the hardy hole or what you have on your anvil. Usually you have something. Just want to bend it up a little bit. Like that. Like just bending it, then that. Alright, that's quite nice. Now you just take it off. And what happens now when we take it off, you see, if you you're gonna make lots of these, this is a pretty good way to go, because now the bar is almost in that pointy position already when we're cutting it off like this. So you already started on the next petal. So for me, I'm making a lot of these for this project. It's almost formed, you see? I can just do it up a bit and then I'll restart on the next. So now we got the leaf here, the stem, round it up some more if I want. What I want for this particular one is for it to have weld it, so I wanted to have a little edge, a little flat spot here. There you have it, leaf shaped. And you can see with all these techniques, ancient techniques really, you can make how many of these lines as you want. You know, if you want to make them small, and a lot of them, veins going up, make them small and a lot. But like me, you only want a couple. This works really good. Yeah, and this type of forging, you can see you can use it for, you know, people who make arrowheads. This is probably a good way to go get started. Also doing an arrowhead. Yeah. So try out, make a couple, make them the way you want them. Focus on going slow, not fast, and good luck.